David Menzies for Rebel News here at Rick Johnson Memorial Park in Pickering, Ontario. And folks, the reason why we're here is that the mayor of Pickering, Kevin Ashe, he is having his annual corn roast event. And well, we have to come to a public park to scrum Mayor Ashe because we are not allowed to do so in council chambers. This is a city, you see, that is embracing censorship and control. And I think it's been 3 times I was frog marched out of city council because I was not approved. That's right. A city in the Dominion of Canada actually approves and disapproves journalists. And by the way, when you get approved, it's not a simple 50% plus 1. You need a 2/3 majority. This is crazy. This is Banana Republic stuff. But it's not just about journalism and the quashing of press freedom. It's also about the constituents who live here. For example, if you're making a delegation, you are no longer allowed a full 10 minutes. It's been cut in half to 5 minutes. If you say or ask something insensitive, you will be frog marched out the city hall by armed members of the Durham Regional Police Force. And I've even seen it myself, including grandmothers, folks. And I have to tell you too, you cannot record a city council meeting on a cell phone. And why would that be? And of course, an apologist would say, well, why do you need to record it? There is a live feed that you can tap into. Yeah, just one problem with that. You guessed it, censorship. When things get testy on the live feed, all you see is white noise. And finally, we have to address the fact that contrarian councillor Lisa Robinson, she has been fined more than a year's salary, 1 year and 3 months to be precise, for what? Saying things that the mayor and council doesn't agree with. Again, the quashing of our freedoms is outrageous. And I have to tell you, not only are we here to try to scrum Mayor Ashe, because we are in a public park. To the best of my knowledge, we're not breaking any laws here, but we are here to send a message with our beautiful Jumbotron-equipped truck. And the campaign for this is mayorasheexposed.com. That's mayorasheexposed.com. If you don't like what's going on in Pickering, and by the way, folks, this virus is spreading to other municipalities right across Canada, please sign the petition. And if you're able to, kindly make a donation so that, well, Rebel News can continue to bring you the other side of the story and pay our expenses for our truck. Now, I see the corn is being served. Let's go see if we can get Mayor Ashe to come on camera. Hey, Mayor Ashe, how you doing?
How are you?
Good.
Good. Welcome back to Pickering.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I don't usually get a welcome. You usually kick me out with armed police. But you know, because we can't ask you questions in council, that's why I'm here.
Sure.
I just want to know, why do journalists have to be approved?
Well, our procedural bylaw indicates that there has to be a motion and pre-registered. And up until now, we've had a couple of instances where they've been approved. Sometimes they haven't. So that's up to the assembly. It's not my decision.
But who put through this procedural bylaw, Mayor Ashe?
I think it was a result of the escalating issues in our council chamber. So it was a recommendation from staff and council itself. The procedural bylaw is owned by council, and we amended it.
Okay, but I don't think you answered the question with all due respect. Like, who put through this bylaw? And I mean, a procedural bylaw, I mean, I thought freedom of the press is a charter right in Canada.
Well, certainly our meetings are open, they're streamed. I don't think there's any question that they're allowed to. A lot of people were feeling uncomfortable about some of our visitors to our chamber and the videotaping and the like. So,
but I don't understand why. It is a city facility. It's open to the public. It's literally the town square. And I mean, why a 2/3 majority? I mean, it's ridiculous, I think, that journalists have to be approved, air quotes, in the first place, but by a 2/3 majority?
Well, typically when you're changing the rules or overriding the rules, there's supermajorities required. So that's the 2/3 rationale.
And Mayor, just so I understand the rationale here, people were being offended by journalists asking insensitive questions?
I don't think that's the case. I think there was a sense of unease about some of the independent journalists and some other visitors to our chamber. For instance, there's a Mr. Transparency North, the Kevin J. Johnson show. You've always been respectful when you're in my chamber, so I appreciate that.
Well, you know, I appreciate that. That's nice of you to say. But if that's the case, I mean, the last time I was there, it wasn't even voted on. I couldn't even get the 2/3 motion, 2/3 approval because the motion wasn't voted on. Why would that be? Especially if you're saying I'm always respectful, Mayor.
I don't recall the circumstances, David, about why it didn't happen or did happen. I just don't recall. So.
Okay, well, you remember the police escorted us out.
I do recall that.
Okay,
yes.
then.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's another problem, journalism aside. Pickering, like most of the GTA, we're having the worst crime wave in our history. And Mayor Ashe, all these police officers at council chambers, I don't know, thank you, sir, to protect people from, I don't know, wrong thought? I mean, I don't get it.
Well, our council chambers, we do have usually 2 paid duty officers. Certainly, security decisions aren't made by me. The regular patrol is done by the police, so they might have had a inkling that something was going on. I don't know.
Well, I think the last meeting I was at, Mayor Ashe, I think I counted 19 police officers at one point. I mean, if you came upon Pickering City Hall, you would have sworn there was like an active shooting taking place. I mean, that seems like using a bazooka to kill a flea in my book.
Well, I don't disagree with how you've described it. I was in the chamber, so I wasn't aware of what was going on outside or in the lobby. Okay. All I know is the city has 2 paid duty officers when we were having public meetings. Our council chamber is now under renovation, and we'll hopefully being back in our chamber early next year.
Oh, okay. I thought when you moved it online exclusively, you said it was a safety issue?
Yeah, I believe it was. There was, again, some people from the independent media, and again, I'm not including yourself, and some other people that were not respectful of the rules. They're not respectful of the rulings of the chair, and they were making it an uncomfortable place for people in a place where people should feel comfortable. It's a place of democracy, like you said.
But Mayor, are you saying that they were getting physical with people, or?
I don't think intimidation is always physical. It can be in different circumstances, and I think having cameras in your face and microphones put in your, so for someone who's not used to that, I am, it can be intimidating.
Okay, well, that's a new one for me. But, you know, a lot of people, especially you mentioned the live streaming, we've had clips where the live streaming has been censored. All of a sudden it goes to just white noise. And a lot of people say, Mayor, with all due respect, what are you hiding? Why don't you want the residents of Pickering to know what's going on at City Hall?
I have absolutely no problems with a live stream. I'm unaware of the circumstances you're talking about. We've done an investigation. We've had no incidents of proven time lapsing or any of the live streaming being changed. So that information hasn't been shared with me.
I can share you those clips that have been said.
I'm happy to look at it.
Okay, fair enough. And also, I mean, with the residents of Pickering, I understand delegations cut in half from 10 minutes to 5 minutes, no follow-up questions. Again, a lot of people are saying this seems to be an abridgment of the democratic process.
Well, first of all, 5 minutes is kind of best practice. What happens at our regional government. happens at a number of other municipalities, and there are follow-up questions allowed.
Okay, then I was under the understanding they weren't allowed to anymore. But right now, there's a very similar city to Pickering, Mayor, Nanaimo. And the Justice Center has put Nanaimo on notice that they have to stop these kind of censorious moves, or they're going to take legal action. If push comes to shove, if Nanaimo's rules, which are very similar to yours, are shot down, would you recognize that as a precedent and stop, things like making sure journalists receive 2/3 of a vote?
Well, certainly we will follow best practices. If there's some evolving case law, we would certainly look at the circumstances surrounding it.
Okay, so you'd think about it. You're not firm. Okay,
Yeah.
And also, Mayor, one of the theories I've heard from people about the secrecy, about the censorship, is that there's an agenda at play to make Pickering a 15-minute city. Is that part of your unspoken agenda?
Absolutely not. I mean, the ideal of a 15-minute city about being connected and walkable, and that's an ideal we should all believe in. It's a trigger word for some, and I don't have any concerns about it. And if people want to think that it's a prison or a jail, I think it's overblown rhetoric.
What about economic punishment? Councillor Lisa Robinson, I understand, has been docked more than a year's salary. I believe it's 1 year and 3 months, just as far as I can tell, for having contrarian opinions. Can you explain why she's been financially penalized like that?
Well, she's had 6 sanctions reports with over 30 breaches of the Code of Conduct. So the person that's responsible for the removal of her pay is her by her actions. The Code of Conduct is something that we all have to live by, and unfortunately she doesn't feel that's the case.
Okay, then, from what I understand, it was just for being contrarian to the thoughts of you and other councillors.
I don't think that's accurate at all. The Code of Conduct talks about responsibilities, about being respectful to your council, your and staff, your other colleagues, the community, and she's been sanctioned for infractions against the community, staff, as well as her colleagues. So, the actions of Councillor Robinson are the direct result of her losing her pay.
And Mary, I believe you once told me that your leaning is conservative. Do I have that straight?
I ran for the Conservatives in 2007 provincial election.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm right of center.
So are you a Patrick Brown and Aaron O'Toole conservative, maybe, as opposed to, say, a Pierre Poilievre conservative?
Well, I think Premier Ford's doing a great job. I think Premier Harris did a great job. My dad was an MPP in the Davis and Miller government, so that's kind of the ilk I'm from, the Progressive Conservatives.
Okay. What I'm getting at is that censorship and shutting down the press, those don't seem to be conservative values, Mayor Ashe. And I got to tell you, this exchange we're having is going remarkably well. You're coming across, I'm going to be honest, as a very nice guy. I wish we could have had this kind of discourse in council, but this is exactly why I've come to your event, because on, I think, 2 or 3 occasions now, I've been frog marched out by armed police officers. I think it's outrageous. Our viewers think it's outrageous. Do you have any thoughts, I guess, Mayor Ashe, about revising this policy? This is the kind of thing you see happening in a banana republic, but not the Dominion of Canada that has the Charter of Rights and Freedoms.
Well, our renovations of our council chamber are currently underway for accessibility, for security, as well as technology. And when it's completed in 2026, we'll certainly reviewing, if we're going back in the chamber. I think that's probably the plan. And we're always looking at our procedural bylaw to see if it's appropriate or not. So, I'm open to discussion.
Well, Mayor Ashe, I want to thank you for your time. I don't want to monopolize your cornrows time. I got to be honest. I thought you were going to call the cops on me today. Not that I want that, but the last thing I expected was a civil discussion. And as you can see, I don't think I'm a safety issue. I'm not saying anything disrespectfully to you. So it would, be good to cover a council meeting where, I'm not taking you away from your own event. So maybe something to think about once the place is renovated.
Let's consider this the beginning of a conversation.
What do you think the reason is, Lisa, that he'll engage in a public park on a Saturday, but we're not allowed to witness what's going on in City Hall?
I would have to think that's probably because we are in a public park, because if we were City Hall, you'd be frog marched straight out of there again.
Can you give us a brief rundown of why you have lost more than a year's salary?
For common sense, David, just for common sense. I work for my constituents, and they ask me to bring forward notices of motions, and they want answers to a lot of things that are happening. For example, I tried to bring forward 3 notices of motions, as you know, to one, that we only fly government flags on governmental buildings.
And wait a minute, what's the problem with that?
Apparently, that's racist.
What?
Yeah, they said I was racist and I was transphobic, and I lost 3 months' pay for...
Well, wait a minute, racist and transphobic. So I guess is the issue that Pride Progress flag?
That is exactly it. That because then we wouldn't be able to fly the Pride Progress flag. And they had said that I had singled out that flag, which I didn't. I said all flags. We as a government underneath the law, we have to remain in a state of neutrality.
Yes.
And, when you're flying one flag above another, we're not in a state of neutrality anymore. They just started all these draconian measures, all of this authoritarian regimes type stuff that they just started. And because they keep getting away with it, they keep on introducing more and more and more. But not only that, they're also sending the message to the other municipalities that, hey, we got away with doing this. So, you can get away with doing it too at your council. So it's happening everywhere, all through Ontario right now. If I was mayor, I would use the strong mayor's powers for good.
Yes.
I would go into City Hall. I would get rid of the CAO, the city solicitor, and a bunch of the directors, because corruption does start at the top. And I would tear it down and I'd build it back up from the bottom, and I would give City Hall back to the people. Okay. And that's my goal. That is my goal. I just hope that, I will be able to participate in that goal, because it does cost a lot of money to run an election.
I have to say, we do have our beautiful billboard truck. Your face is gracing it, as well as Mayor Ashe. Any thoughts on the messaging?
I love the messaging. I saw it come by, and I actually asked him to stop for a minute so I could film it. But it's amazing messaging. It's not like,
My name is Kevin Ashe.
It's the truth, right? And that's what I like. It is the truth, because there is so much censorship in the city of Pickering, and a lot of people don't know about it unless you're paying close attention to our council meetings, or if you're reading some of the newspapers. People don't know what's happening, so I think it's great that you have that.
There is Judy, who happens to be a grandmother, who was frog marched out by, it looks like 4 members of Durham Regional Police. Judy, what happened back in March 2024? Did you go into council chambers with a weapon or something?
No, absolutely not. I applied to have access to speak as a delegation, and during the start of my speech, I guess Mayor Ashe didn't like what I was saying, and basically I was just saying that the previous month there was a lot of delegates that were saying that Councillor Lisa Robinson is not following her oath to public office. And so I was saying that none of you are our elected officials, because none of you have an oath of public office.
Oh, okay.
They have a declaration to a foreign corporation. The town or the city of Pickering and the police refused to provide their evidence. I demanded evidence while in the council chambers, and so I wanted text messages or WhatsApp messages or any of those kind of messages that was going from city staff, specifically Mayor Ashe or Marissa Carpino, who is a CAO, and I demanded that information. I was entitled to that information they refused to give it, so it got thrown out.
And Judy, just to be clear, what exactly were you charged with that night?
That night I was charged with trespassing and nuisance bylaw.
But City Hall, it's quite literally the town square.
Yes.
How do you trespass, on a taxpayer-funded town square?
Exactly. I don't know how you do that. But the key matter is when I was finished saying my piece, after I said to Mayor Ashe that I am entitled to public speech in a public forum, or I'm entitled to my own personal speech in a public forum, and I will complete that. Then he called a recess and left, and I completed my speech and willingly left the chambers. I had already been to court once, July 28th. I had to have an emergency motion to compel evidence because my trial was scheduled for August the 14th.
Yeah.
And so they conceded. The prosecutor, and he used the term conceded, that yes, I am entitled to that information.
Yes.
And which I was shocked. So anyway, the judge at that time didn't say anything about the 2 hours and 22-minute time discrepancy, but he did say, okay, well, we'll put this part, the motion to compel evidence, to August the 14th instead of the trial date. And then on that date, it just got thrown out because they refused to give the information. Mayor Ashe could have sat there and just finished his nails or finished watching the game on his phone during the 5-minute time. It's not that long.
Yeah.
I mean, really, that's really what he should have done.
He was watching a hockey game?
Not that night, on a previous night.
Hey, folks, I know you love it when Rebel News brings you the other side of the story, but the fact is we need your help. Unlike the trained seals in the mainstream media, we don't receive a single nickel of Mark Carney's media fund, and nor would we accept that money if ever offered. So if you're able to, please go to our newest campaign URL. That would be mayorasheexposed.com. That's mayorasheexposed.com. Sign the petition, and if you're able to, kindly make a donation.